Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm going to be talking about the classroom trend marketing simulations. What are marketing simulations? The pedagogical approach of providing students with the opportunity to practice skills that would mock real life. They are built based off of a lot of employer feedback, and they provide a competitive environment for students. These simulations provide dynamic and responsive feedback throughout the games. They also incentivize higher order thinking skills such as systems thinking, creativity, and other analytical components. They can be highly collaborative if they are geared towards teams, which can emphasize those soft skills that a lot of employers are looking for. Can marketing simulations enhance learning? We're going to talk about the pros and cons. Pros for students, it can increase engagement. It can also increase their locus of control and overall motivation for class. This might have to do with the novelty of a simulation program, particularly if they have never experienced one before. Train AL also found that teams that have an average of 5 students tend to do better than those that are much larger or much smaller. For instructors, there's a lot of pros. This provides a student-centered approach to the classroom. It can also provide a flipped classroom option, allowing for more collaboration and feedback during the physical class time. It does reinforce a lot of business literacy, which can be challenging, especially for secondary level students. Cons to simulations are that students can focus too much on the idea of winning the simulation and stop being concerned with the best approach to each of these business situations. Also, simulations can be overly challenging to a student if they are asked to do them alone, or if a student is a part of a team where their peer collaborators are not participating to the level that they are. For instructors, many of the cons are related to the cost of simulations, the burden placed on these schools to provide them, and the individual pricing based on the student. It can be extremely risky for a teacher to seek that type of funding when they have very little information on how successful it will be at their school or in their classroom. There can also be a significant learning curve for teachers. One, to learn each simulation platform, but to also become experts at the platform and in the simulation, since they will be the ones leading it within the classroom. There can be a wide variety of user experience design. So again, there's this very challenging aspect up front for the instructor, especially in relationship to cost, to find the right fit for their classroom. Some recommendations for using marketing simulations in class include limiting groups to 5 members. If there is a class that you're teaching with high-level students such as MBA students, smaller groups are applicable. However, second level students such as high schoolers really should be in groups of 5. It's very important that before an instructor introduces these products into their classroom, that they be trained and have a very clear understanding of the progression of the simulation. So that way they can answer any student questions as they work the simulation in their classroom. Something else instructors should consider are vendors who provide low fidelity and high fidelity options in that critical thinking. And so if they're going to spend money on a simulation for their classroom, particularly if they teach multiple levels of students, they will want to purchase from a vendor who has introductory level simulations as well as more challenging simulations for their higher level students. Many of these simulations are a great way to have a dynamic summative tool, and particularly for those upper level students who are about to leave and go on to work in the real world.
I'm going to walk you all through the Marketplace Simulation micro simulation demo that is available on their website. This is the landing page for their site, and then you can see it says try free, and then it opens into a new window, and it's about the fundamentals of product design. So we'll click start. At the beginning, they've got an introductory video on product design. What is it? What is involved in product design? Talking about specific systems, vocabulary, all things that should be a review for most basics in any marketing class. So we're going to kind of skip through this. Any student who takes the time to watch these videos, even if they aren't 100% familiar with these items, hopefully it would be a review, but they'll do perfectly fine and well on the simulation as long as they take the time to watch the videos. The second one is specifically about the benefits and components of the product for this simulation, which happens to be a mountain bike. So again, a student doesn't have to have any familiarity with bicycles, much less mountain bikes, but as long as they watch the video, they should do just fine. I also liked that they provide very large, clear buttons and directions on how to navigate throughout this simulation. So part one is positive correlations. So it's looking at the potential benefits of the product and all the design aspects of it. You can see here there's this picture image of a mountain bike, and as you click on each feature, it will, you can see here, highlight that particular item on the bicycle. So let's get started. As we click, you can see it highlights. We can check as we go. So it says not quite. Some of those items don't work. So the ones that did get a green line connected to them because they're positive, ones that didn't, you can just uncheck. Submit. And then once you get it, it says, great, you did well. So you say, okay, ready to move on to the next feature. All right, softer rides. All right, and it gives you this feedback every single time, which is great. Sometimes it's multiple items, sometimes it's just one. So now we've moved on into the negative correlations. So we're looking at particular product features and benefits, and we need to figure out what would be detrimental to that particular aspect of the design. The negative ones have this red dash line, so it's very clear which ones are correct for this, but they're also negative. All right, so we've brought together the positive and negative. It's like, great, you have basically completed part one, and you can move on to the next section. This section is all about the customer and getting specific customer feedback. So they provide this introduction on the target customer, and then it goes into a specific blurb from a potential customer about how they use mountain bikes, what they're looking for, and it moves on from this audio into a list of priorities for that particular customer, which you can see here. So all of those potential benefits of the products and the customer's importance rating for each product. So this is really great to consider those priorities. When we move into the next section, what's also great is that you don't necessarily have to remember this list, but these rankings will be available at the top of the screen. So they've been added now to each of those features. So you're going to select and design a bike based on this particular customer's desires. So we will try to look at those positive correlations for those things. All right, we can try to get some feedback by hitting submit. So it says not too shabby, but you could do a little better. Let's see what my design score is. It's an 82. So I can continue working to try to increase my score, or I can just move forward. Students can submit this as a screenshot if you want to make it an assignment. If they want to try again and they're not happy with their score, they do have the option to start over.